This call is now being recorded.
All right, welcome back to the Shop Class Podcast. Tonight we got a very special episode. It's like a full house. It's awesome. We're going to be talking about the off-grid solar and battery backup systems. We're going to install that in a teacher's classroom, but in this case, it's very special. Matt Bloomquist's classroom is actually a job site, which is awesome. And so we're actually going to go out to Illinois, and this is the planning session. So you are a witness to our planning. We got two experts in the house besides all the shop teachers here on solar and also on battery backup. I think let's just go around the room, introduce everybody, and then whoever's shortest on time. I think Todd, you said he only got 20 minutes. So maybe we'll go to Todd for solar first, and then we'll go to Matt for the battery backup and all that. All right, so in the house, we'll just go straight to the experts first. We got Matt Foley. How you doing?
What's up, guys?
All right, that's Sunlight Conversions, and we'll bring up his website. We got Todd Menadier, shop teacher, New Jersey, but now a solar. He left us. He's like, forget the government. I want to work at the.
I was taken away.
How you doing, Todd?
Good, man. Good.
All right. And we got Matt Bloomquist in the house, award-winning teacher from Taylorville, Illinois. How's it going?
What's up?
All right. And we got Zavaki is in and out. He's cooking dinner. So we're looking at his stickers right now. And we got Peter Molinaire from Toronto. Oh, there's Tim. How you doing, Tim?
Hey, everybody. I'm in earshot. Just
okay, cool. He can hear us. What are you making tonight, Tim?
leftover chicken thighs, heating them up.
Okay. All right.
And steamed broccoli.
Oh, nice. All right. Peter Molinaire, Toronto. How you doing, Peter?
Great today. It's good.
All right. And we got Duke Lazowski's on vacation. He's going down the shore. What's happening?
Yeah, down the shore. Near Todd. We could probably do this episode together.
Oh, dude, you guys are, yeah, actually, Duke, Todd, and Matt, you should all go to the boardwalk, throw some darts at the balloons, and you guys are right there. What do you got, man? You went to Jenkinson's? Where are you going?
Beachcomber. Spices, I don't know.
Beach
Gotta
Comber.
get pizzas from Three Brothers, Marukas, you know.
Man, I used to go down to Manasquan. You could get everywhere from there. All right, cool. We got Nick, upstate New York. He's holding down the humidity, but he's colder. He's colder than all of us. He's smart. He's like, I'm going north. I'm out of here. All right, so let's get right into it. So coming up very soon, I can't even believe it, is going to be our first in-person meetup where we actually install an off-grid system. What a cool thing. Matt Bloomquist taking a risk with Harbor Freight money to spend it on something new. Not everybody's going to have this. You could buy another drill. You could buy another DeWalt setup or whatever. But how many teachers have an off-grid system for their job site? Matt, why are we doing this? Why do you want to be off the grid, man?
Because I can afford to. No, actually, I mean, it's something that is, getting to know you guys, and I think Matt and Todd have been on the show before, right? I know Matt has for sure.
Yeah.
Getting to hear you guys talk about stuff, and the idea that the next house build we're going to do, we're working on getting solar panels for, hopefully, and doing what would potentially be our first net zero build with the students. It was like, well, shoot, getting temporary power is always kind of not a huge deal for us, but it's always something we always have to do. I have to, we either have to build us a temporary power pole or get to borrow an electrician. And I was like, man, how cool would it be if we just showed up and the mobile classroom powered the entire job site itself and the job site? Because almost everything we run now is batteries. So all we have to do is charge batteries. We have a couple things we plug in, but for the most part, we can run the mobile classroom and charge the batteries every night. We wouldn't even need a temporary power pole. And plus, with getting into solar and renewable energy and stuff, I figured it'd also be a pretty cool thing that we can have on the job site as a training vessel too. So it's not just a cool thing to do to the mobile classroom, but it would be something that serves as a training pool for years to come and stuff. So yeah, it's just a cool opportunity. It was a idea. Well, if we could make this happen and bring all of us together too, and possibly the same place, and kind of give our idea of doing professional development for shop teachers a trial run or a crash course. And we finally almost all of us on this screen have hung out together, or at least people have hung out with each other. But it's something that for the most part we're spread out pretty far, and just another reason to put everyone together. So why not is the question, I guess.
I mean, that's awesome. Something I did when, anytime you next level your projects, when I 2008 we were doing gas cars, and then I took a class on how to do electric, and we just tried. We still do gas cars, but we just gave a electric car a shot. It turbocharges your kids, the adults in the neighborhood, possible grants, sponsorship. So anybody listening to this who's on the fence about trying out like a electric setup, it's not just going green. It's really what I tell people now. I think the best option is to say it's an option. So you don't always have to have the gas or the electric, or you got off grid as well, and you got your battery backup. So let's go to the experts while we got them. I think, Todd, you have the least amount of time. Am I right?
Probably. I don't hear any yelling upstairs though. So
All right, he's watching his kids.
We'll say, yeah.
All right, Todd. So tell us about, a little brief thing about what you do, and then tell us how you think you could possibly help out this project. What do you think you could contribute?
Yeah, so I was a shop teacher classroom teacher. I taught sciences and a couple other things, but I like shop the most. So I did classroom work for about 13 years, working with a solar landscape right now. That's a commercial solar company based out of New Jersey, where New Jersey's largest owner of community solar projects, and soon to be the country's largest owner of community solar. So we've spread out. We're actually building projects in Illinois. We're just awarded just under 9 megawatts of projects last week, actually. So we'll be out there doing some work, which is pretty cool. I'll actually be in Chicago the first week in August, doing some trainings and other things. So growing, expanding, and part of the kind of company's mantra is to make sure that we're providing solar for all, and making sure that we're giving back to the communities that we're putting solar in. So I keep talking to Matt and trying to figure out if there's a way to get some panels up on the roof of the school, so that way there's more of a reason for our company to get involved with this. I think it's a great project, so I'm really pushing for it. I got a meeting with our VP on Friday to go over the details of why we should fund some of this. Whether we can give you panels or just some money for it or something is still up in the air. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how we can make something happen and kind of collaborate on this. It'd be pretty sweet.
Nice. So Todd, is that the panels would be at the school or on this project in particular?
So
or both?
So both, right? So we do projects that typically require, for lack of a better word, some sort of community involvement. So the more that we can work with Matt, with his school, and with people in the community, the better off we're going to be as a commercial developer for these types of community solar projects. Illinois actually has a pretty cool program though, where we can just kind of sit down with the school and put solar on the roof of the school as a lease rate. And then we can then sell the electricity back as a community solar project. So the school, I think there's a requirement where the school has to buy 10% of the electricity produced. So it's a lot different than other states where if you put anything on a school building, typically the school has to buy 100% of that electricity, and they save money on by not paying for it from the grid. So they get a discounted rate. But in this case, they're actually making money in the form of we're kind of like a tenant on the roof, and we're paying them a lease, so they get some income, and that can go towards whatever they want to use it for, which is, in my opinion, a little bit of a better deal. But depends on the market that you're in and what makes the most sense. But yeah, they don't have to do that, right? So the other option too is like there are other spots where we could build solar projects in Christian County where he's located, and working with him on this project helps us develop some stuff in that area too. So that's why I think it makes sense all around.
Okay, cool. And Matt Bloomquist, you spoke with Todd, and you guys are on the same page about what's the next step.
Yeah, so Todd and I got talked the other day. I sent him the information. He has to talk to somebody officially from the school. So I sent him my principal's information at the high school and talked to my principal today or yesterday, whatever day it was, to let him know that Todd would be getting hold of them and stuff because there's stuff on their end they kind of have to take care and stuff. So really, it's just, I guess it's Todd getting kind of the okay to move forward with what they do. I'm still kind of learning all about it and stuff. So that's why it's pretty great that we're all on here and stuff. But yeah, now we will have to get things figured out pretty quickly because we've got to let Matt know to go ahead and, you know, send him a check and get things ordered and things on the way. So here in a couple of weeks, we have the stuff here for to do the work. So
Yeah.
it's all coming together very quickly.
It's amazing because we've got the off-grid project is really just an office. It's a trailer office, but but what Todd's talking about is potentially working with the entire school. So this is like, wow, you know, like how many shop teachers got the whole school building hooked up with solar?
Well,
Like,
which is really cool because we're in the process of getting ready to expand on our building. So we just tore down an old part. It's all been in hot debate around here what's getting built officially, but there'll be a new structure, classrooms and structure getting added on. So that good thing is that hasn't been built yet. So to put the little bit of conduit and infrastructure needed to, you know, have solar panels in that area or something of the building is something that could get added on. So actually Todd's kind of jumping in at the right time if it all comes together on his end for that side of things, because like I said, we're getting ready to add on to the building and nothing's there yet.
Nice. Yeah, I looked at
Cool.
the building too, and it's already a pretty good size. And we got from what Google Earth shows, they look like pretty beautiful roofs too. So that's like
Yeah, big and flat.
win-win for our project. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're looking for. So.
Yeah.
all right, let me bring in Matt Foley. Matt Foley is like a cross between DIY and also pro. Like he'll do it himself and then he'll show you how to do it. He'll also install it. And the first time I met him, it was, believe it or not, a YouTube channel crew, Zach and Jesse of the Now You Know YouTube channel. We took a ride down to Jersey Shore, and we met this crazy guy with a sailboat that he removed the diesel and put in an electric motor, which sounds, if you're not a sailboat guy, you're just like, well, you have a diesel on a sailboat? Yeah, you need to maneuver in and out when the sails are down or whatever. So he put the electric in, then he did his house. Now he's done other houses, he's doing trailers. So Matt, I gave you an intro. Give us a brief about yourself added to that. And then what do you think of this project and how can you coordinate with the rest of us here?
Sure. I think most of you guys kind of know my story. So I started doing boats, I guess, 2017. That's kind of the primary focus because, you know, boats are fun and it's kind of wide open. There's really nobody doing it. You know, you try to break into, you know, the auto market, you know, it's kind of crazy. The boats, it's a totally different story. But we'll do pretty much anything else: cars, motorcycles, scooters, trailers, houses. So our house now is 3.5 years. We renovated it like 3.5 years ago. We produce over the course of the year about twice what we use. And that includes driving 2 electric cars, probably 18,000 miles a year. And that's twice. So we're tied to the grid. So we send half of it back. And the house is, you know, we did some improvements, but it's leaky, it's old, it's under insulated. We have trees. Most of our roof doesn't face south. And if we did it again today, the panels are probably 10% more efficient or something. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. If we did it today, we could probably power 3 houses from one roof.
Wow. It's crazy. Yeah, and I've been over there a bunch of times. He's got a battery backup in his garage, and it's so cool. So and you know, think about it. He basically drives on solar. So like I got a Tesla and I got to plug into the grid, but he just charges it up at his house. You know, no big deal.
Yep, my garage is off. We have a pergola, and those panels is 3.6 system or something, 3.6 kilowatt. That runs the garage, and they have 10 kilowatt hours of batteries, salvage batteries, and that's been a little over 2 years. It's never touched the grid. It does everything. Every weld, every screw I drill, everything is just from solar and those batteries. And then I'll often charge my car from it too. I should actually try to figure out how much I've charged. Maybe 5,000 miles a year straight from the pergola and the batteries.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You know, and you weld off the grid as well, right?
Yep, everything. So I meant to do, I wanted to do yesterday, but I didn't get to it. I want to test the batteries, but I'm pretty sure they're still pulling full capacity after 2 years, being used every single day. That's pretty amazing. I tested.
And how do you test the batteries? You're going to bring them down and bring them up?
Yep. I tested my Vespa a couple weeks ago, still pulling brand new.
Oh, and if you haven't seen his Vespa, it looks like a rusted out thing that you found on the side of the road, but it's a classic Vespa. But dude, when you twist the throttle, it's go. It is go. It's all go. And it's got like 4,000 watt hub motor. I don't know if Vespa even understands what's going on. If they knew, they would switch over to electric. Those gas engines.
Vespa does make an electric one, but they're purposely not doing the best they can. It's slow. It's limited. They could do a lot better, but you know, that just like everyone else, they don't want to eat into the bread and butter. So
yeah. So what do you think for this project, Matt? How are you going to coordinate? What are you thinking as far as panels? And you want to give us some thoughts on this project?
Panel wise, doesn't really matter. If whatever Todd comes up with, doesn't really matter if you can get anything. I mean, a couple of things we're going to be careful of, but shouldn't matter too much. What did we say? How many panels was it? 4 or 6?
Maybe to start, I got an idea for all of us here, including me, but also the audience and people here. Why don't we just go over the list of the project? Not worry about numbers or anything like that, but like, what are the components? I know when I do cars, it's battery, motor, controller, and then motor to trans adapter, and then, battery, you need a battery box, you need a BMS to manage the batteries, and then controller to, when you hit the throttle. So what are some of the, give me like the main components, and then let's break it down.
So you got your solar, and then that's going to go to charge controllers. So that's going to, regulate the solar coming in and spit out what your batteries need. And then you're going to have the BMS built into the battery. And then you've got your inverter that's going to take the battery power and turn it into 220 in this case, because that's what you guys need.
Right. That's because he's running a mini split, right?
Yep.
Okay. And
so solar, charge controller, inverter, batteries. That's it. I mean, a lot of more goes into it. Easy to make it sound simple, but yeah, those are the pieces really.
Okay. And what's the size of the how do we size a situation like this? We go with the peak, or we go with kind of an average? How do we size it?
Well, you want to max out as much solar as you can. There's no reason not to. And we talked about doing a ground mount as well. I think that would be pretty cool.
Oh, a ground mount? This is the
to supplement what comes in the roof.
Here's all the stuff if you guys are looking at the Instagram. This thing's wild. If you ever get a chance to drive this thing, oh my god, it's total fun. All right, I don't want to interrupt that. So tell me what you're saying again.
So yeah, fit as much solar as you can. If I think a ground mount would be really cool, especially for winter, you can angle it, steep angle, aim it towards the sun. Battery, I think 10 kilowatt hours is probably the minimum you would want. Inverters, I think they could do about 6 kilowatt continuous, maybe 10 kilowatt peak. I can't think of anything that you would be running that would need more than that.
Okay. What's his worst day? Is the middle of the winter? Heaters running?
Yeah, I mean, some days you're going to get next to nothing from solar.
Mm.
If they're covered with snow, you will get nothing.
Mm. Oh, so if it's on the ground, it's easier to clear the snow, right?
Yeah.
How do you clear the snow off the roof? Like a broom or something? Like I don't know. I've never done it.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's dangerous. I don't usually do it. I don't need to do it because I'm grid tied. It doesn't matter. Well, I guess my pergola isn't. But if they're slanted, then it usually melts fairly quick and slides off. So the further you go north, the more an angle you want your panels at. And up north, you get more snow. So that's one thing that kind of works out.
I got a stupid question for Todd. You got a huge school with a huge roof and it snows. What happens to the solar panels? What do you do?
We just leave them.
You leave the sun?
We don't. Yeah, nothing we can do about it. We price the system out in accordance with the weather conditions at the site, historical weather conditions. So we know that February might produce absolutely nothing. So we do that accordingly. So when we go to Taylorville and look at the roof and put our system design on it, we're going to know how much it's going to produce and how much money we're going to make. And then that means we can then figure out how much we can actually lease the roof for and how much we want to pay to the school.
So it's factored in.
Yeah.
And those estimates are usually pretty good, right?
Oh, go ahead.
What's that?
With Duke, were you talking? Sorry.
Yeah, you just have a snow day. Shut the school down.
Yeah.
That's the thing we do around
exactly.
here.
Yeah.
Can we use
How much?
the batteries to heat up the panels to melt the snow to then recharge the batteries?
People have thought about it. I think one day that might be a thing where you can just run a tiny bit of current through the panel. And if you did it when it started snowing, it wouldn't take a lot for it not to pile up.
And what about just like a windshield wiper? Come on, man. That's 12 volts. Just take it off a car.
So Solyndra, that was one of their advantages. Everyone remembers Solyndra, that whole big scandal. I don't really know the whole story. I've heard a lot of things. But anyway, so they had round tubes. They were like fluorescent light bulbs. So snow couldn't really collect on them.
Huh. Oh, I don't even know anything about it. Okay, interesting. That's cool. So, okay, so now let's talk boots on the ground. So let's say we got inverters, we got battery, we got wire, we got terminal ends, we got solar panels flying in. Todd will like show up with the solar panel like tucked under his arm. He'll show up, right?
I'm gonna ride the Vespa out there.
Okay, he's gonna ride the Vespa to Taylorville, right, from Jersey. And we all show up, right? And that's great and all. Now what? Like, what's the first thing we do? Like, what should we do, man?
You guys want me to post a picture or share a picture of the mobile classroom?
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah.
While you're chatting, I'll pull it up while we're chatting.
Do you put the panels in first? Do you tie everything together, see if it even works? Do you find a spot for your batteries? What do you think, Matt Foley?
Sorry, I'm just reading a message. What was the question?
Okay. The question is, we order the stuff. We got solar panels. We got inverters, which are also the chargers, from my understanding. We got a battery. We got all this stuff, and we show up in Taylorville. Now what? What do we do first?
That's nice.
Screw
It's all
everything to
aimed
the
at.
wall.
What's that? Matt, you're thinking about it?
Oh, I said screw everyththing to the wall.
Oh, secure everything to the wall. All right.
Yeah,
So
because you can't
do we
really
do
make your
first?
wires everything until that's done.
what do we do first? We put the batteries down somewhere.
Yeah, just figure out where everything's going to go.
Okay.
Is there a picture of the inside again?
Oh yeah.
All right.
That
So
Let me
was
see
it.
if I can find a picture. Let me see if I can find a full picture of the inside real quick for you.
And he has a panel. So do we need to make our own panel, or do you just add to that?
there's a couple ways to do it. You could do like a transfer switch and have like a sub panel. So some would be powered by the grid if you plugged in, and some would go through the inverter. But that's kind of annoying. I think the best way would be the grid will always come into the inverters, and then the output will go to the panel. So everything on the panel will go through the inverter. So when you're plugged into the grid, there's a bypass switch built into the inverter. It'll just flip to the grid, and then you could pull power from the grid, and then extra power will go to charge the batteries. So as long as everything on that panel is capable of being powered from the batteries, which I'm sure it is, then that's the easiest way to do it. Literally, you cut the wire where it comes into the trailer, and you run it into the inverter. And then you take the grid feed in, and then you run it into the inverter as well.
Okay, so let me get it straight. So grid, instead of going to the panel, goes to the inverter first or after?
Yep, to the inverter first.
Okay, so we go to the grid to the inverter. The inverter then can charge our batteries. Is that right?
Yep. So it's an inverter charger. Yep. So it charges the batteries.
And then we also put the panels on the ground or the roof and hook the panels to the inverter.
Well, there's a kind of. So you're gonna have like a bus bar. So the panels come into the charge controller, and the charge controller is going to put out 48 volts. And it's going to go to a bus bar. The inverter will be hooked up to the bus bar and the batteries.
Oh,
So the power can go either direction. Either can go straight into the inverter if it needs it. Otherwise, it'll go into the batteries.
mm.
Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah. All right. Does anybody not know what a bus bar is? It's basically a bar that you can tap a bunch of stuff onto. It's just basically like a wide piece of metal with holes on it. That's basically, it's like a power strip in a way. I guess. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So okay. So let me get this straight. So you got your grid's coming in, go to the inverter. The inverter's hooked up to the batteries so we can charge them. But then the panels all go to a bus bar, and they're coming, and then they go to a charge controller, and then charge controller goes to where else does it go after that? Did I get it wrong?
You reverse the order. So it's panels, and then we're probably going to have a fuse in there. So panels, fuse, charge controller, and then the bus bar.
And then the bus bar goes to where?
It goes into the inverter, into the batteries.
Got it. So let's say it's sunny and Matt is not working because it's a Sunday. We're going to charge batteries, right?
So it'll do both at
Okay.
the same time. It's just there's no logic to it. It just works. If there's
Okay.
extra power, it goes to the batteries. Otherwise, it goes to the inverter.
And then if he charges the batteries, who's watching the batteries? Is there the charge controller?
Yep, the charge controller will be set at only go to a certain voltage, but the BMS will manage every single cell and make sure no cell ever goes over voltage.
Okay. And we can, and just so people know, you can't let, each cell might be in parallel. So you have a really big cell, but you then go in series, just like a flashlight, so that you can get the voltage higher. And when the voltage goes higher, that's great. But the thing is, what if you have one battery that's charged up and one that's a little low? The total will not equal the top charge. So, and then if you go to the top charge, you'll overcharge the one that's up and undercharge the one that's low. So basically, you have to balance them. You need balance in your life.
What kind of batteries are you guys using?
What kind of batteries are you using, Matt?
I had some I wanted to use, but I got them in and I won't use them. I can't. They've got issues. So the batteries are up in the air. You guys can buy your own cells and put them together. That would probably be the most cost effective, but definitely the most time consuming. We talked about, in a pinch, just to get it going, because it's super simple. Just go to Walmart and buy 4 12-volt lead acid batteries, put them in series, and you can at least fire the system up.
Okay, so that's a lead acid setup. But then,
Yeah,
you
sorry.
then
So ultimately, they're going to be lithium iron phosphate.
the phosphate makes them safe, but they are lithium.
They are lithium, but they pretty much can't go into thermal runaway. It's almost impossible. They're safer than lead acid, arguably.
Okay.
And they'll last decades, being used every
Nice.
day.
Todd, you got any thoughts on this? What do you think of our build, dude? What are we missing?
I mean, sounds like you got everything covered. I would just say, like, obviously, if you're going with lead acid, you're gonna have more space taken up and more weight. I don't know if you're gonna be if you care about that, but
This is just so I would never
It's not a-
suggest lead acid. It would be just so they can fire it up really quick.
Would you need a different charge controller for that, though, or the charge controllers accommodate any chemistry now?
Yeah, they're programmable.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, I figured that. I mean, RC car ones are too. If you have like any questions though about like the racking, it looked to me, I'm looking at it on my phone, but like that's the one thing that you have to know about. And like I mentioned earlier, we probably have enough just sitting around our shop that Matt can come down and grab one day. But it looks like that's like a standing seam roof. It's not corrugated, right?
Correct. It's standing seam.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we use Unirac that sticks right on there. And like I said, it's a small enough roof where I'm sure we just grab enough parts so that way you have your mounting system right there. And then, Matt, do you know the system size for the panel, like what the roof can fit?
We did this math. I should have pulled it up. What was the number of panels we said? I can find it. Take a second.
I know we kind of bounced around on the. Shoot, I just had the email up. Sorry, I was emailing Mark Willie trying to jump on.
Oh yeah,
What's the what are the dimensions of the roof?
The roof is approximately 8 by 24.
And then what's the plan for like moving this thing around? Like as you transport it, I imagine you're not gonna like take the panels off every time.
It drives across town or to the next site, which the last time it drove 2 blocks or 1 block down the street.
Okay.
But yeah, we just drive it from spot to spot like every 2 years. It doesn't move. I mean, it can move obviously, but we don't take it anywhere.
Okay.
Just job site right now. It's parked behind maintenance building at the school. That's where the picture was at.
I guess Unirac probably doesn't support mobile applications, I'm imagining.
I don't think anybody would.
And
would
it's
say,
in
go ahead and
town,
use it for
and
that, so.
it never goes over like 20 to 25 miles an hour.
Gotcha.
Move it like the space shuttle. Just crawl it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking about from like a liability point of view, we might not want to put our name on any of this.
Yeah,
All right,
it'll
we got
it always
Peter's
moves
face
at
in
a,
his hand. That's a big deal over here.
it always
Go ahead,
moves at a
Peter, what do you
parade
got?
speed.
You could always just use like Unistrut or something and bolt it down. That way you're not
Yeah.
using the solar, the clamps that clamp it from the top. You can just, all the panels have holes in them already. You can literally just bolt them to something.
Yeah, so it might take a little extra effort, but it's better if it's not moving that often. I don't know. But what about the ground mount idea too? Like, how would that be mobilized?
We take it apart, pack it up, stick it inside the mobile classroom, and when we move.
Gotcha. So that would be, I mean, that would be a kind of cool project too. You know, that way the kids can, you know, you like weld a frame, they can like fold up and then just install it wherever you're at on site. The only issue with that too is like, you know, if there's ever like a weather event, like a wind event, you got to be careful. They're angled pretty steep and they're basically just like sails at that point.
Yeah, we just had a close call with the tornado a week ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
But yeah,
I mean,
so,
like I said, with students and stuff, I mean, that's something we can have it set up where, you know, I mean, even if we embed it into the ground and it gets, take off the panels and pull the, you know, post or setting post or whatever up, whatever may, you know, whatever we come up with.
Yeah, they have some cool things now. They have like screws that you can use. You just literally screw it into the ground and
That's why I was wondering if there's some kind of like big auger
yeah.
attachment pipe that you just auger in, and then when you're done, reverse it out.
Yeah.
yeah. Or just
What about
ballast it
wall
down.
mounting it to the structure itself and then just putting a leg out to get the correct angle?
Yeah. Yeah. that'd be
Yeah.
pretty
So
cool,
are we
too.
putting it on the roof? Are we putting it on the side of the building? Are we putting it on the ground? What do you guys think?
I think if you could angle it, literally like move it over the, you know, course of the months of the winter, that would really gonna get you a lot more power.
Nice.
We could definitely do that as the trial run. I mean, here's the thing. We can't really mess it up because we can always change it. Like, especially if it's on the ground, then we're like, let's mount something up on the roof. Okay, well then hopefully, like I said, the idea is me and my students will continually get trained on these installs. So, okay, well then maybe we have to put some stuff up on the roof. So if we wanted to, you know, go with just the ground, I would be fine with that and have it where the kids move it around a little bit, adjust it on job site. That could be cool. I know there's some other people raise their hands. You can jump to them if you need to real quick, Ron.
What
yeah,
about on another trailer?
Ooh.
like a second trailer?
Yeah, like a solar panel trailer that, and then you can angle it wherever way you want, or you can turn it whatever way you need to.
Oh yeah, like
That could be
TM4.
that could definitely be something we'd have like our ag class maybe build like something like a cart more or less, right? Like or whatever, how we want to call it. But I like that.
I was thinking like a traditional trailer, just kind of like how you have your mobile classroom on a trailer, like another trailer, you just park next to it. And it's portable where you could just take it wherever. Like if you needed it for something else, you know, say you're running another seminar or you have a second house, you know, or whatever, you could take it and just plug it in.
And if you did a single axis on it, like this way, that would cover one azimuth, probably not the right word. And then if it's on wheels, that'll give you the other. So like in the morning, you could literally just flip it, aim it towards the sunrise, and then flip it again, aim it towards the sunset. You get a lot more power.
And then all you got to do is just take a wire and run it to your thing, your classroom. Then it's not attached, and then it's lower to the ground, so it's going to have a lower center of gravity, so it's not on the top of your building.
It's a cool
And then
idea.
And then it's the only thing on that trailer, so it's a self-contained unit.
I like it. The only thing is getting a trailer now would add another expense, which I may have some extra money for. Thing is, it wouldn't have to be. The good thing is, it wouldn't have to be a big trailer, and it wouldn't have to
Get
be
the
an
Harbor
expensive
Freight
trailer.
trailer.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, I got connections.
The Harbor Freight trailer. Yeah, I just sold one. When I was in the desert in Bonneville racing, we had an electric vehicle and it was a land speed record, and they had a solar powered trailer that would charge the car. And I think you guys seen it before, but I'll just throw it up here, and it would track the sun, which was kind of cool. And I have it right here. You can kind of see it. This guy is still around. TM4 Solar, he used to call it. I'm not sure if he's still in business, but this guy, Doug, he's still around. We can ask him what he thinks. Here it is coming up. So, the next scene coming up in like 2 seconds. Yeah, hopefully right here. There it is. Tier 4 Solar. Sorry. You guys see that? Yeah, so that's kind of interesting, and it would track the sun, and then you got a battery backup. So that was a pretty cool thing. I think Peter had a question. Peter, give it a shot, man. What do you got?
Yeah, I was just wondering if both Matt and Todd have the chat. There was the suggestion for the brackets to use on the roof mount, but they attach well to standing seam roofs.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The brackets that we use are like clamps. They just clamp right onto the standing seams.
Does he need the 48 by 96 trailer, or can he use the 48 by 48 trailer? And these are easy to assemble. Yeah, there you go. I used to have that one, and I gave it away.
Yeah, that's pretty small.
Okay.
I'd go bigger.
Go bigger, man. While we're thinking about trailers, I got a question for Todd. Now, Todd, let me set this question up. Todd actually taught solar install in a classroom. Like, he literally put this off the grid. So what we're doing, Todd did like 47 years ago. And and so he had a solar, I think, on a pole or something on the roof, and then the wire went into the classroom, and then from there he backed it up with a battery and inverters. Is there anything you learned from that project? Because Matt's a teacher. What should he do before going down this road? You already been down this road, man. Tell us some insight, and also fix your camera. We're looking at like half of your face.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm on my phone here.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it was a long time ago. I'm sure technology's changed significantly. I mean, there was no way you could get a lithium anything battery back then. So we were doing all lead acid stuff and kind of pretty cheap charge controllers, and our inverter wasn't even like a sine wave. Like, we had a square wave inverter because it was like super cheap, and it's all that we could really get. So like, yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can have these days that are a lot easier to use and will probably last longer and work better. But as an educational thing, like, it just makes sense to have every aspect of it labeled. Like, our classroom had labels all over the place and descriptions of the stuff, so you don't just have these like weird looking boxes on the walls. Or your kids are in construction class. My kids were like coming from like a kind of engineering background, so like they didn't know like what conduit was or anything like that. So like, they thought the pipes on the wall were for like water or something. So just being able to like explain everything that you have, and use it as like a learning lab. If it's mobile too, and like, you can use this as like a class, like a teaching experience too. Like, there's definitely ways where you can just take it and have it like be like a kind of plug and play thing where you can set it up and tear it down. So as it's not at a site and you don't need it, you can just have everything disconnected. So that way, when you go to a site, the first thing your students do when they get to that site could be like and install everything, not like fully install, but like, rerun some wiring, plug everything in, that kind of thing, do some tests on it. That would be kind of cool. So that way they know what the whole like system is about. They're not just, if it's all set up and ready to go, then they don't really understand it or see the value in it. They're just plugging their chargers into their standard outlet, and it is what it is. It's nothing special at that point. But if they actually have a hand in like connecting some of the stuff together and putting it in a way where it's then going to be useful for them to have at the site without having to tap into the grid, they're going to appreciate that a little bit more. If there's any way that you can have like a meter connected to it, so it shows like the battery life and like not just the display on the charge controller, but like something a little bit more prominent, that's always important and cool, and they can see in real time like how much juice they're using, how much they're wasting in some cases if they just like leave something on for no reason, which kids tend to do. Stuff like that they're always seeing data and learning from the system as they use it. So it was pretty important.
Yeah,
Nice. Matt, looks like you want to jump in. Go ahead.
so that was part of what I designed. So it's all Victron stuff. So it has a Victron touchscreen. It's like a 7-inch screen, color. It's really cool. You can see all the power coming in and where it's going. Everything will be, saved, all the data. They can log in remotely. They can pull it up on their phone. Everything will be saved forever. You can go back in time and see how much you make. It's really pretty cool.
I will say I didn't know what Victron was, but then a friend of mine here in San Diego has a boat with a Victron setup, and it's a really cool display. Like it's straight up like, here's your battery, here's offshore, here's solar, and it'll show you the flow of electricity and it'll count it. And then you're saying it'll keep the log as well. And then you can log in. That's actually pretty cool because then people could play with it. You could turn it on. So what my buddy does is he didn't have solar for a while. So he just had battery and then how much the boat. So boat, battery, and offshore. So if he has the battery, it's like there's these little wire, like little arrows going, and it's showing you how much the boat is using and then how much your battery's at, like your fuel tank. Then offshore, if you turn on offshore, then it'll show you charging the battery. But now he's got solar, so he's got solar here. So he's got offshore, solar, battery, and the boat, and it'll show you which one it's using. Kind of like a Toyota Prius. I don't know if they still do that graphic, but there used to be this graphic on the Toyota Prius that showed you how much you're charging, how much you're using, how much gas you're using versus battery, all that stuff.
Yep, they'll definitely have that. And what's cool is it's all software updatable, and the issues updates all the time. So if they figure out a cooler way to display something or better functionality, you just get it for free. It's like a Tesla.
Nice. Duke, what do you think, man? What do you think of all this? You gonna put it on your house?
I want to put it on my shed. Bring my notebook. Take notes when I'm over there in Taylorville.
Duke teaches middle school. Can you do a miniature off-grid system for your classroom? Maybe similar to Todd. His classroom was off the grid except for the overhead lights.
We got a little section of roof too. That will be pretty cool.
Nice. And that's the idea, is that we do this project and we use it as an example. We'll do like videos and YouTube explaining it. And it's so funny. Todd did this a whole lifetime ago, and now this is just getting started. Like people are just starting to do it, and it's like the slow moving tsunami. It's same with the electric cars. It's like, yeah, you need to know how gas engine works and diesel works, but if you know how the electric works, it's like a whole different thing. Peter, what else you got, man? I feel like you were going to add something else.
No, I'm good. You've got, great ideas to either put it on a post that rotates, or the trailer idea is good to make it mobile. That seems to, and collapsible, and as Todd suggested, have the students involved in erecting the structure and taking it down when it needs to be.
Oh wow. Nick, what do you think, man? Do you got solar on at your house in New York State? What goes on over there, man?
No, I've been thinking about it. I've also been thinking about solar thermal, but now that Peter mentions the post and the trailer, and now I'm like, oh, we could just put a post on the trailer and make it mobile, and then you can rotate, and then just hoist it off, and then put it on the deck of the trailer as you transport it.
Yeah, that's actually a cool idea, man. If it's if it's on the ground, then just stick it on the tongue and drive it down the street. I don't know. So Matt Bloomquist, the teacher in charge, what do you think, man? What's the next move? What do you think of all this?
I like the trailer idea. One, like I said, the Harbor Freight trailer is not expensive. Two, maybe Harbor Freight Tools for Schools wants to sponsor that for us, even though it's pretty minor, in the big picture of how much this thing would cost is a pretty minor cost. But, even like Nick's suggestion, whether it's just mounted on the trailer, we turn the trailer, if it's mounted on a some kind of turntable, adjustable pull, whatever it may look like. The nice thing is, once time we go to the next job site, we just hook it up to the truck and drive it over.
Yeah.
There's no climbing on the roof. Snow wise, we have years where we get pounded with snow a couple times. And we have years where we barely see dustings, hardly ever, so snow is going to be a problem occasionally. But I do like the idea of keeping it clean and everything from the ground. Obviously that's a no-brainer when it comes to safety and, just convenience. So yeah, Tim, good call on the trailer idea, man.
That's cool.
With the price of an Harbor Freight trailer for, $500 to potentially free, I almost think it's why not do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Plus,
and I think
feel like if we need to add to it or something else, or if something goes bad, then any maintenance becomes easier too, not clean, but maintenance wise, or swapping or adding to it. So
the only thing would be potential vandalism, but
I did think about that. Yeah.
Excuse me. So, but I don't know if you have really had no issues with your mobile classroom, you're probably not going to have any issues with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought about that too, Tim, because I was like, well, because obviously having a hitch lock and maybe a little extra security, just so somebody doesn't just take off with the trailer with the panels. But yeah, we've never had anybody mess with the trailer. We've never had anybody mess with the house itself, the mobile classroom. So knock on wood, it stays that way. The good thing is everybody knows what we're doing, kind of high profile, and we make nice with the neighbors pretty quickly. So
yeah, I think there's a little bit more flexibility with that. Whether you have all your inverters or whatever you need to do, you could probably put them underneath the solar panels that can keep them out of the elements. They can be secured in some type of a box of some sort. And then if like you were saying, if you need to move based on the sun angle, that's kind of flexible there too. I kind of like it because, say you do have a natural disaster. If you needed to, you could pull that to the school and park it inside.
My house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could put it inside the garage at the house.
Yeah.
So
Bring it to a
Yeah, and get it
barricade.
out of the weather.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a good point.
Well,
That makes
and
it
the
a
other
lot
thing
easier.
too is, like for this, Tim, every time we move the job site, we're in a new spot. It's a new geographical location. Are we now a north-south lot? Are we an east-west lot? Are we got trees now on one side? Do we not? So every time we go to a new job site, it's something different. So this gives us a lot of versatility because the mobile classroom, you pretty much only have certain spots where you can park that thing because it's big. Where this, as long as you got a long enough wire, you got any part of the lot that's available.
You could park it on the opposite side if you needed to. I mean,
Yep.
you could put it
Front
anywhere.
yard, backyard, side yard.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Like, what
I like
about trees? And then if you put your solar trailer where there's no trees, and then put your trailer where there's trees, that'll actually help out in the summer. And in the winter, keep the snow off you. I don't know. That's interesting.
Heck, I can park at the road if I had to. Put some cones around it.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's what it takes to get sun.
I even think you can supplement by maybe putting, you know, maybe one or two smaller ones on your mobile classroom that are a little bit more durable, and then supplement with this, like the monster trailer or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I just did a quick design, and it looks like on your 8x24, you could fit at least 6 panels that are the size that I am fairly confident that we have. So you're looking at like a 2.2 kW system. I don't know what size you're looking for overall, but
That sounds cool. Matt Foley, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think my quick math was like 2.6 or something. So that's in the ballpark. So on a really good day, a 2.2 will get you.
because the easiest thing, I mean, you know, if you have a trailer, you got to get the trailer, you got to build some sort of mounting system. You got to make sure that it's like collapsible, adjustable, whatever, so that way it doesn't go flying off. And then, but if you have this, if you can fit 6 on the roof and just supplement it with like, let's say 4 more, you can literally just take 4 out of the trailer itself, lay them down on the ground, put some, you know, put some blocks on it. Like you can get mounting systems that actually give an angle and then have a ballast block underneath it so they don't blow away, and just put them down like that.
What's that game with the beanbag where you throw it at the angled stupid piece of wood?
Cornhole or bag,
Yeah, cornhole,
depending on where
yeah.
you live.
This is like cornhole solar panels. Do they sell those, Todd?
We were actually thinking about making those because like our rooftop systems look like those, right? Like they're portrait or their landscape rather, so they're a little funny looking in that sense. But like, yeah, they just sit at a 5-degree angle, and we just pack them in. So like that's an option for you. And the cool thing about that too is like that system is really easy to set up. So like we have tons of it, so we can just give you that no problem. Like for 4 panels, like that's what we use all the time when I do trainings for this. And your kids can set that up in like 20 minutes. It's like, it's pretty sweet. And then you can put that on the ground at an angle, you know, the 5-degree angle. Actually, we have 10 degrees too. But you can put that like wherever and then have that as part of the setup. I'm just thinking of ways where it's like logistically easier. So now all you have to do is transport one thing as opposed to move this trailer and then cart another trailer, but also like have something for your students to be able to do like day in and day out. Like every time you set this up would be, you know,
Gotcha.
pretty cool because they can actually then, you know, be a part of it where they can find the space, you know, where are you going to put these panels so that way they get the best sunlight and figure it out. Because it's funny, they don't always think about shade and how, you know, there's a tree over here, it's sunny right now, but in 20 minutes it might not be sunny, so I'll get them thinking a little bit more. But I mean, that's just
no, I like that. I like this options wise. Like this is fun. This is becoming a little bit even more fun than what I already thought it was going to be. So I mean, obviously, we'll have, I guess you put the ones on the mobile classroom itself, and then our extra ones would go either on the ground, on the trailer, or we set them up, whatever we go with. Is that kind of what we're thinking? We have our main ones up on the roof, and then we have the supplemental ones to fulfill the system that we do whatever with. Is that kind of what you guys are thinking then with the number of panels?
Yeah, that's what I would suggest. I mean, the only slight issue that I would see with that is, you know, if you're putting, I don't know, it probably, depending on the inverter, like it's going to end up being like one string. So you're going to, you know, you put them in string and your lowest voltage is what you end up with kind of thing. So like that's, like if you put, you know, you got the 6 up on a roof, and if you put them together in the same string as a one's on the ground and they're at different angles. You're getting different voltages unless you're using. What were you gonna say, Matt?
Yeah, there'll be at least 2 charge controllers.
Two
They'll be
charge-
totally,
okay.
yep.
Yeah, then you're okay.
Cool.
So I think
Man.
it won't be too hard to get like a 3 kilowatt system with both combined. I think the average house system, I think it used to be 6 kilowatts. Now maybe it's like 9. So if you can do 3, and the average is 9 for a whole house, it's something.
And then this is honestly just the practice for his next house, possibly, right, Matt?
Yeah. Well, we'll do this one here in August, and then as early as potentially anytime after Halloween to say February, the whole house system could be going on if everything comes through for pretty much funding it, honestly.
It's awesome. And potentially, we're gonna try and broadcast as much as possible. I think there's a lot of people interested in this. This is one of these things. I mean, I would like to do this as well. Why shouldn't I have a car charging station at my auto shop, just like Matt set up at his garage, where we, and you're right. Like, okay, you can't get the solar panels on the roof because that's like a whole other thing. Well, why don't we just put it on a trailer and just park it in a spot on the street and then just cable it in? I mean, that's kind of interesting. I never thought about that, And then if you charge up your batteries, I like that you can monitor everything. This is pretty cool, man. I like that. And Matt, is there anybody else involved in this build? Do you think people are going to come and check it out?
Yeah. We're working on some special guests to show up while we're there. I know for a fact there's going to be many special guests on the job site when the house building goes, which has become pretty typical for our job sites now with the network we have and stuff and connections and stuff. But we are working on maybe have a few fun people show up while we're all in town and stuff. So
nice.
We'll definitely be putting this together. Probably I got to talk with Neil. We may have like Tommy TV on there doing a little bit of footage for the school media class and stuff as well. But for me personally, I'm hoping to start getting footage and stuff as a little bit of kickoff for the Build, Learn, Teach YouTube channel to go along with the Instagram and everything. And so got a lot of good information and insight on that while I was out in LA with Harbor Freight Tools of Schools, talking to some teachers that doing that and stuff too. So it's gonna be a like I said, it's our test drive, and that we're gonna document it and share it. So
nice.
Whatever that like, everybody's gonna use it, I suppose.
People should know that Matt just got back because he's a Harbor Freight Tools for School award winner. He just got back from LA where they do a conference for all the previous winners. So is it literally every single winner for the last 6 years you all get together?
They're all invited.
Wow.
Not everybody made it, but
how many people showed up? Is it so to be?
I think we're around 100.
Oh wow!
Because
we're at least 4 years.
We're at the point. So I was a 6th-year winner in 22. And they're at the point where one of the questions and feedback they're talking about is, what are we going to kind of do, especially like after next year when they're added even more winners to the list. I think they went from 20 winners to 25 potential winners. And so it's one of those things where I think that'll push the number up to like 130 some total potential people that could be at these. And they're trying to keep it intimate and all that stuff, but in a small area. So that, after here next year or two, they're really going to have to start honing in on what it's going to look like as just the group grows.
Probably regional. They'll regionalize it probably.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the options they asked if how we'd want to meet up and stuff. So, it'll be interesting to see because, oh my gosh, we could do a whole episode on that itself, and maybe we can do that sometime here. But
wait for that.
amazing.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. Once you're in a club, you're in a club, and you want to be in the club. I'll tell you that right now.
Dude, I tell you what, honestly, everyone should apply. I got into the second round, and we're waiting to hear back. I guess October for first round, but or for if I got in and I won it. But let me tell you, just do it anyway, because I got to tell you, it makes you think about your career, and it's not just the money; it's really good. So anyway, that's a whole other episode. But maybe we can wrap up this one. We got some good ideas bouncing around. That was really cool. Anybody want to add anything else? I guess we got to talk logistics of travel and whatnot. We can probably talk about that after recording, but but is there anything else as far as the build goes? What do you think, Tim?
So my question is this. I haven't been in with the pre-planning and all that other stuff, but was this designed after Matt won the award to put this on there, or was this in the planning before? I don't remember how logistically this all came in the mix.
I think it's been an idea, being amongst this group that has kicked around. I think the idea actually came to me before I won the award, but obviously winning the award allowed the funding to happen for this project. Otherwise, I'm sure if we dug deep enough and hard enough, we probably could have got more of it funded and stuff too. But when Duke and Ron and Nick and I were all at Rhode Island JLC Live, I was like, hey, I got this idea. What do you guys think? And so that's really where it officially started, as in maybe we can actually do this. So what was that, March? Officially started.
Ron was trying to plan a meetup,
yeah,
around the JLC time anyway. And then Matt said he had this idea. So I think it worked well together for our first meetup.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, we haven't officially met up. We've gone to the JLC twice, and we've done Maker Camp. By the way, Matt Foley and Todd Menadier, you guys can't miss that. You're close enough. Maker Camp is like the hardcore version of Maker Fair.
Oh yeah, when is that?
Dude, yeah. Wait, when is that? Is it end of September? Do you guys know?
Ask Nick.
Nick, is he frozen?
Yes. Present.
Wake up from frozen. He's like a computer. He just waits.
When's Maker Camp?
What Maker Camp? Sorry, when is it?
Columbus Day weekend.
Columbus Day weekend. It's awesome, and it sells out, and it's such a good time. They got bonfires, and you can do blacksmithing all night, unsupervised.
This is different than from Make Magazine stuff, though.
This is not Make Magazine. This is if Make Magazine got a job,
Maker.
These are billable, what they call, I guess they call it the skilled labor, people who you can bill for this. I know that Maker Fair is good, but it's a lot of trinkets, This is dude, you can make there's welding, there's blacksmithing, there's I don't know if they have machining. They should, but in a way they do. Yeah, they have plasma cutting.
Timber framing.
They build timber frames.
That's this weekend if you want to come up.
Print making, turning pens.
They were smelting iron last year.
Nice.
Oh, you know what? Okay, it's like if Maker Fair grew a beard, and rode a motorcycle. It's the same excitement, only just they got a tattoo and joined a rock band, or something like that. I don't know.
And it's in Jimmy DeResta's backyard.
Yeah, dude, Jimmy DeResta hangs out. Jimmy DeRessa's got like 2 million subscribers. He's just hanging out. People are like talking to him, and he's barehanded carving something up on a bandsaw with the guard like 2 feet high, you know. Just, you know, and the wheels are like 30-inch wheels or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so it's a good time. So put that on the calendar. But yeah, sorry, I got off on a tangent. So we were trying to find something, and then Matt was like, hey man, I got this idea. And then we're like, okay. And to me, it's overwhelming. Logistically, it seems insane to me. I have no idea how to do this. I never planned an event. You know what I mean? But I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. So I found the Airbnb that's paid for up to 8 people. If anybody else needs to stay, we'll figure it out. There's cars as well. You know, and then there's we just got to figure out driving and flights. Matt, dude, I'm willing to fly you out, bro. You're the fucking installer expert, dude. We're going to do this. You know, we'll make it work. I know he's got a tight schedule, so that might not happen, but we'll try and we'll see. All right. Anything else on that before we wrap it up? Yeah. Okay. All right. So we got a plan hatched. We just gotta do it. All right. So that's planning session 1, and maybe next. You know what we can do next week is, I guess, more details. Find out exactly what we're doing, like a schedule, and then also we could do the Harbor Freight recap and get Barbercheck in here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Barbercheck can't make it to the next one, to the summer Taylorville thing, because he's having a baby. So
yep.
I still haven't met him yet. And that was my co-host. Oh my God. It's unbelievable. All right. Well, thanks for joining. Everybody check out Matt Foley's Sunlight Conversion and Todd Menadier. What's the name of that company you're working with?
Solar Landscape.
Solar Landscape. Yeah. And you know, and it's funny because, like, not for nothing, but like I'm a gas guy and an electric car guy, but like if you don't got solar panels like as part of what you're doing, like it's free energy from the sun, man. I mean, come on. So if you got a house, man, you got to consider it. And this is the only way to move the needle is to try a project. So hats off to Matt Bloomquist for giving it a shot. You know, so thank you for taking a chance with your Harbor Freight, award money, and that's a great use of it to try something new instead of just buying. Okay, you could have 30 new drills, or you could have a charge controller. You know, so. All right, cool. So we'll end the recording there, and we'll hang out for a bit. Let's talk logistics. All right, thanks a lot, Harbor Freight Shop Class Podcast for life. Let's do this. All right, thanks a lot.